The reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. So goes the Mark Twain quote. And yet there are a great many fictional heroes to whom this quote could just as easily apply. Have you ever considered the question, how do heroes cheat death? Again?
Is he dead?
You see, there is a God.
And again.
Why can't he ever stay dead?
And again.
The dauntless Darkwing duck emerges once again, unscathed from his concrete straitjacket, singed but triumphant.
What possible explanation could there be for such a remarkable survival rate?
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
The answer is simple. They have plot armor, a thing more powerful than any creation Tony Stark could invent. And it is not just protagonists that have it, for it is enjoyed by some side characters, and even a few charismatic villains. Greetings, good storytellers. I am the Artful Narrator, and it is my privilege to welcome you to learning the tropes of writing. So, what is plot armor, you ask? Well, it is the obvious fact that in most stories, the main character is not going to get killed. So regardless of the life-threatening situations the protagonist may find himself in, the simple truth is that the hero's fate lies not in the hands of his enemies, but in the hands of the story's author.
For any villains we may meet, we haven't any fear.
Paramount will protect us 'cause we're signed for 5 more years.
Now, the presence of plot armor in stories is so prevalent that we as viewers and readers hardly even give any thought to it, so long as it is not abused. In fact, the clearest glimpse that we can get into the true life-saving power of said armor comes from observing the lack of plot armor, best exemplified by the red shirts. Yes, whenever Kirk or any of the main crew of the Starship Enterprise get into trouble, they are able to weather it just fine, and yet, even when the red shirts seem to have superior numbers, they still get killed off in droves. And whether they were vaporized by Nomad, or melted by a magma monster, an examination with a literary eye reveals that the cause of death can be directly attributed to a chronic lack of plot armor.
You're not gonna die on the planet, guy.
I'm not? What's my last name?
It's, I don't know.
Nobody knows. You know why? Because my character isn't important enough for a last name. Because I'm gonna die.
Plot armor is a facet of narrative that the willing suspension of disbelief helps us to forget, so long as the author takes care to maintain a balance between a fantastic action and there's no way you're going to convince me that anyone could live through that.
He didn't fall? Inconceivable!
So how does one maintain said balance? Well, the tone of your story should help to dictate what level of plot armor is acceptable. Stories that are likened to the examples above are tales cast in a lighter hue, where fear for the protagonist's life is not the ultimate goal. Stories of this ilk often run on the rule of cool, whereby the spectacle of the action displayed is more important than the actual peril. However, other genres, more serious in tone, often display a greater dedication to depicting the lethality of combat and evoking a sense of mortality, whereby when conflict erupts, we feel that there is all too high a possibility that any of the characters on screen may meet an untimely death.
He died? And this is supposed to be a kid's movie.
And yet another thing to consider is the fact that while stories thrive on tension, that tension does not need to come from the question of whether the hero will die, but rather from the empathy you feel for the hero's plight. This approach to the problem is summed up excellently in a quote from Joss Whedon. With Buffy, it turns out to be a question more and more, as we work on the series, of putting her in peril emotionally. Just because she can defeat something doesn't mean that it can't affect her. And Sarah plays the grief and dealing with that level of her life really well. So Buffy's problems are less physical than emotional, whereas Willow sort of has both going on. For me, a perfect example of this concept is displayed in Aliens when Ripley is attacked by the Facehugger. Through the mastery of the scene's execution, I was truly horrified for her as I watched her wrestle with the creature, for even though I knew that she would survive, I more importantly understood and sympathized with the mortal dread she was experiencing, due to the excellent way her fear of the creatures was established throughout the film. This created a powerful sense of tension, far beyond anything a spray of bullets could evoke. But whatever the level of realism or drama you wish your story to exhibit, never doubt that powerful and moving stories can be told in any tone, no matter how fantastic. For, if we care enough about the protagonist, then we may not simply fear for their lives, but for their happiness and well-being. In this age of flashy special effects, overblown stunts and explosions, it is easy to grow cynical and scoff at the hero's improbable survival. However, we should remember that this merely represents the most extreme end of the spectrum, and that while plot armor is certainly a tool of the writer, it is also a manifestation of the viewer's inherent desire to see their heroes overcome adversity, no matter the odds.
He's dead.
Grandpa, wait. What did Fezzik mean he's dead? I mean, he didn't mean dead. Wesley's only faking, right?
Look who knows so much, huh? Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
Thank you very much for watching. I hope that this video has been informative, or at the very least, a pleasant diversion. Until next time.